Come on everybody now, gather around faster, 'cause Pone's about to talk about his modified blaster.
What is up guys, Pone here, and today I've got a little aesthetic or cosmetic project I've been working on that I wanted to show you. No performance gains here. I just wanted to do a little cosmod on the Vagabond. Alright, now I kind of like what they did with the Vagabond, but the front end is a little ridiculous looking. It's huge and ungainly, so I wanted to cut that down. And my other project went pretty well, but instead of turning it into an underbarrel attachment, I just wanted to have it be a little sawed-off pump shotgun. Now the first thing you gotta do is remove this front end stuff. These pieces, after you disassemble the blaster, just come off real nicely. Just take those, maybe use them for later, just put them in a drawer. And the next piece that got removed was this here, and this just unscrews. There's two little screws here, and this attaches to the front end. Now where a little more work comes into play was grinding this down so that it became a little more flush with the front of the blaster here. Now when I ground the front down, I definitely wanted to keep this screw in place, so I just ground it down right to there, and at the top to make it kind of line up. And then I ground this down as far as I thought would work. So this little rail piece at the top of the Vagabond is kind of a pain to get back together a lot of times when you're putting the blaster back together, especially if it's been painted. So I actually took a drill bit and drilled out these two holes to make them a little bit bigger so it fits together better, because a lot of times this plastic here is so flimsy when you're pushing the shells together, instead of sliding in, it just kind of pushes the plastic down and it just makes for a tough time. So I just wanted to make it a little easier on myself. Alright, so as I typically do, I like to post my work in process stuff on Instagram, mostly to get kind of feedback from people, what they like and what they don't like. And in this instance, tcraft_Nathan had something to say about this picture. Now in this photo, you can see the barrel for the Vagabond, where I've cut it, has some quite sharp edges. And Nathan actually pointed this out to me. I was kind of just going to leave it alone, but he did point out that it was very sharp, and I took that to heart, and so I went back in and I ground everything down so it was kind of more of a bullet bill shape, I guess. So thanks Nathan for your comments. I definitely appreciate any feedback when I'm doing a mod. Alright, so the colors I used on this thing were from Joann's. We've got a Folk Art Metallic Ice Blue, Folk Art Metallic Emerald Green, and then a Ceramic Coat Black that I've been using for a while now. Started off with, of course, the black vinyl dye, and then did some details with the Emerald Green and the Ice Blue, and then went back over in a few places like here with the black. When you're painting, it's definitely always a good idea to get kind of layers on layers. I think it definitely makes the blaster look better. So when you've got the black and then the green and then more black on top of that in the kind of smaller details, I think that definitely adds a little bit to the blaster. And then in this case, we've got the black and then the green and then the Ice Blue on little smaller details here. Okay, and then if you're planning to cut off the front end of your Vagabond, there's sort of two methods that I've done. In this method, I actually cut through, there is a metal bar here, cut through that so that, and that's pretty much the only thing that's holding this section on. You can see here there's a little gap, so this section is really just held on by a metal bar that ends up just being somewhere in here. So when I cut that metal bar off on this section, this front end just came off completely, so I ended up kind of with this, and that's one route you could take, but obviously this isn't flush, and maybe it looks better that way, I don't know, at least doesn't look terrible. But if you want to get it more flush, you need to be very careful not to cut that bar too hard or vibrate it, because initially when I did it with this one, it loosened up horribly, so it was kind of just spinning around, so that I had to cut it off completely to make it work. And this one, I missed it completely, so you can see here it's not quite flush, and that is because I wanted to make sure that I did not hit that bar. So that's about as close I think you can get. If you want to take a look at that, it just juts out a little bit when this is ground down as far as this. And then, of course, I ground this down just to take away the really sharp edges that were on there. So I think that kind of gives it a cool look. This does make reloading quite a bit easier because you can just get it in right in the front. You don't have to kind of wiggle the darts around. Let's do a quick little firing test. I've done no internal modifications besides doing a little lubricant on some of the parts, so the trigger pull is still pretty nice even though it's been painted with vinyl dye. And I also actually lubricated some of the catch mechanism so that it would work a little bit better. is it for me today. I just wanted to do a quick little video on a cosmetic mod for the Vagabond. I think it makes it nice and compact, and it definitely has a better feel than the sort of ridiculous clown front end of the stock Vagabond. Remember, as always, it's not about having fun, it's about how pretty your blaster looks and how hard you wreck your friends.